My husband returned from his business trip and discovered the baby isn't his. I heard his suitcase hit the floor before I saw him, a dull thud, followed by silence. That silence always scared me more than shouting ever could. Silence meant he was thinking, processing, calculating. And tonight he had every reason to. He stood at the doorway, backlit by the hallway light. His face was unreadable, almost carved from stone. His eyes flicked from me to the cradle behind me, then back to my face. Slowly, measured, deadly. "Whose child is that?" he asked. Not loudly, not angrily, just final. I felt the inside of my chest collapse. My breath refused to form, my throat locked, my legs trembled. I could have lied, I could have cried, I could have begged. Instead, I just stood there, staring at the man I'd married, the man who'd trusted me enough to leave me alone while he flew across countries for work, while I made the worst mistake of my life. I whispered his name. He didn't blink. He didn't breathe. He just repeated, "Whose child is that?" And I knew the life I'd built was seconds away from burning. The betrayal didn't happen suddenly. It had been growing, quietly, like mold in the walls. He traveled for work too much. I felt alone too often. And the man who ruined everything, Michael, knew exactly how to exploit that emptiness. He was my coworker, a stranger who acted like he understood me better than my husband did. A man who leaned in too close, who spoke too softly, who asked questions no married man should ask another man's wife. And I answered. That was my first betrayal. The second was meeting him for coffee. Then dinner. Then a night I swore would never happen. When I found out I was pregnant, my world stopped. My husband had been away for 6 months. He flew in and out of Asia, Europe, cities I'd never even visited. He never questioned, never suspected. He loved me. He trusted me. And trust, I've learned, is the easiest thing to murder. I spent nights convincing myself I could hide the truth, that the baby would resemble me enough, that he wouldn't count the months, that guilt could be swallowed if I forced it deep enough. But guilt always climbs back up. It eats, it suffocates. And now it stood between us in the shape of a newborn child. My husband wasn't a man who acted without reason, so when he asked questions during the pregnancy, "Why does the doctor say you're further along? Why didn't you tell me sooner? This doesn't add up." He wasn't doubting the dates. He was doubting me. I saw it in his eyes, a flicker, a fracture. He pretended to believe me, pretended everything was fine, pretended he was just stressed with work. But I knew him. And when he left for another business trip, he left differently. Cold, quiet, sharp around the edges. I didn't know he'd already ordered a prenatal DNA test. I didn't know he'd paid extra for rush processing. I didn't know the lab called him instead of me. All I knew was that after the birth, he went silent. For 2 days. No calls, no messages, no congratulations. Just silence. And then, the door opened tonight. His shadow filled the room. His presence felt heavier than the truth I'd been hiding. He walked past me without a word, straight to the cradle. Looked at the baby. Really looked. And I saw the moment everything inside him died. Not dramatically, not violently, just quietly. A slow extinguishing, like someone blew out the candle he'd guarded for years. He pulled out a folded paper from his coat, set it gently, almost respectfully, on the table. A DNA report. I recognized the logo, the formatting, the words. Probability of paternity, 0.00%. My knees weakened, but I didn't fall. I didn't deserve that mercy. His voice broke the room in half. "Tell me." I tried to speak, but every word in my throat turned to ash. He didn't shout, he didn't touch me, he didn't look at me with hatred. No, hatred would have meant he still felt something. Instead, he looked at me like he was studying a stranger who had stolen the skin of his wife. I told him everything, every moment, every lie, every excuse, and he listened, emotionless, statue still. When I finished, he whispered one word. Why? Why? As if I had an answer, as if there was a reason that could resurrect the man I'd killed. He didn't leave, not immediately. Instead, he sat down at the kitchen table, the same table where we used to laugh, eat, plan our future, and he pulled out his laptop. He typed silently, mechanically. I approached him slowly, terrified. "What are you doing?" "Finishing what you started," he said. He turned the screen toward me. A divorce agreement. Full custody waiver. No financial support. No claims. No negotiations. He had prepared all of it, long before I confessed. I realized then, he knew. He had known for weeks, maybe months. He let me pretend, let me lie, let me drown in my own web. His final revenge wasn't anger, it wasn't shouting, it wasn't punishment. It was indifference, complete emotional abandonment. He slid the document toward me. Sign. My hands shook so much I could barely hold the pen. He watched me, not coldly, not cruelly, just empty. When I finished signing, he closed the laptop gently. No triumph, no satisfaction, just the quiet resignation of a man who had nothing left to lose. He stood, walked past me, paused at the door. His final words cut deeper than anything else. "I hope he grows up to be nothing like you." Then he left, and he never looked back. The house feels colder now, not because he's gone, but because his absence is a mirror showing the kind of person I became, a person capable of destroying someone who only ever wanted to give me everything. I replay his footsteps leaving, again and again, not because I miss him, but because each step reminds me of the life I buried. I thought the worst thing a person could feel was guilt. I was wrong. The worst thing is realizing someone stopped loving you quietly, without a fight, without a word, without needing closure, just gone. A disappearance so calm it becomes a scar you can't ever erase. When people ask why I'm alone now, I tell them, my husband left. But the truth is much darker. I didn't lose him. I killed us. With one night, with one lie, with one child who carries the face of my betrayal. And every time I look at him, I hear my husband's final sentence echoing like a curse carved into my bones. I hope he grows up to be nothing like you. I don't cry anymore. Tears require hope. And hope died the moment the man I loved walked out and took the last unbroken piece of me with him.
How could you do this?